For sharing with us today. We had a great time last week, and I think this is going to be a fun tradition we can do a few times through the year of just getting to hear from some of our members about important and special memories. This one focusing on Christmas time. So Stanley, we're going to go ahead and turn it over to you. Looking forward to hearing all of your wonderful things that you have to share today.
Well, first of all, I thank you for allowing me to share whatever it is I have, because I don't feel particularly special, and that my traditions have not probably been necessarily out of the ordinary. But when I was growing up in the 50s, we lived in West Los Angeles, and predominantly an apartment neighborhood, and my folks owned a triplex, and we lived in the back unit. And some of the fondest memories I have of living in Westchester was after Christmas when people put their trees out on the alley behind us, and my sisters and I would collect them. And we'd bring them into the yard and create a forest. And some of them were green, quite a few of them were brown, some of them were pink, and some of them were blue. But they were all cut trees. There were no aluminum or artificial trees. And for about a week, it was as long as my folks would allow us to keep them, we had this forest in the backyard, and we would run through them and just play and pretend that we're actually in the mountains, and really had a good time. As we grew up, my family's kind of split apart. One sister and her family in Tucson, and now in Oregon and Denver, and another sister of mine up in the Bay Area, and scattered but still in the Bay Area. But we would get together at Christmas here in Costa Mesa and celebrate after having been to church on Christmas Eve. And one of the things that my mother was responsible for was getting the candles for the candlelight service and putting a little sleeve on them and making sure then everybody who came through the door had a candle. And remembering how Christmas Eve was such a special time and a special service for us, as well as I think everybody who participated. One of the things that I kind of initiated as well was making a wreath, and this was many years ago, and a fellow member was a metal worker and put together a platform out of wire and wood, and we'd collect from the members of the church cuttings off of their evergreen plants and trees and bring them to church on a Saturday, and we'd assemble this wreath, and it turned out to be about 8 feet in diameter, and we would hang it up here behind the screen. And we did that for a number of years.
Was that Dick Lakehot?
Yes, Dick, yeah. And sometimes the pieces of greenery were a little bit heavy, and so the wreath started out circular, but kind of toward the end of the year it became more egg-shaped, and finally we had to take it down for another year. But those were good times when a number of people got together, and just we had a good time putting it together. Another thing at Christmas Eve that I've done in the past and haven't done now for several years, but I might start it again, is putting out luminaries along the sidewalk, along the street, toward both parking lots and up the walk, and also from the sidewalk along the education building into the church, and into the passageway here. And I'd usually do it on Christmas Eve afternoon and create about 100 of them and then come back. I wanted them lit before the choir came early that evening so that they could see it too. And I'd be out there at 5 o'clock lighting all my little candles. And I think everybody enjoyed that little warm feeling of an invitation to the building for Christmas Eve. As a family, we usually had Christmas after church at home, or at times, if we were kind of tired, we'd just wait till the next morning and have Christmas and gift giving that morning. We'd also have a Christmas dinner, which everybody participated in, and so as a family, we really had a nice, warm feeling of togetherness for Christmas. And I can have a sense of that on Christmas Eve when we're here, that regardless of differences that we have among us or traditions that we have that may be different among us, that at that moment, for that hour, it's very special, and we are Christ's family. And with that, I leave you, I guess. I wanted to see if there's anything that anybody out there have an interest in sharing their kind of tradition at Christmas time.
I got one. It's not a tradition, it's like a one-off, but I'd love to do it again. I'm thinking of New Orleans at St. Louis Cathedral when we were there in Christmas time, and they had this, kind of like you were talking, everybody got a candle and everybody got the music for Christmas carols, and this whole square was singing, and it was awesome. I mean, I'd like this, not to put anything on your plate here, but I'd like to see that happen.
I have to construct St. Louis Cathedral and the
Well, we already know about your tree.
yeah, we do.
Yeah, the
We
tree,
know about
the
the tree.
tree.
Stanley, I have a memory with your mother that to share that's just still so special to me when I think, you know what it is, that, and she only did this with